Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, unless of course you're new here, in which case, hi, hello, my name is Ashley, and welcome to my random little corner of the internet. As you can tell from today's title, we are going to be discussing the books that I read in February. It's not a lot. February is a short month, but it's okay. I really thought, because by the time this goes up, my Spotify challenge will already be up, I really thought that I was doing really great, that within that first week I finished 2 full books. And I thought that it took me out of a slump. I think it put me back into one a little. Not necessarily. It was just the fact that I was reading like all day, that I got through 2 books really, really quickly, and then the rest of the month just kind of petered at its pace. But that's okay. So, I read 6 books, which is a total of 2,133 pages. I'm looking at my story graph right now. Most of them were fiction. I did read 1 nonfiction. And mostly fantasy, as usual, followed by young adult and then romance. 3 of them I read physically, 2 of them I read digitally, and then 1 I listened to. And we have an average of 3.5 stars. So definitely not as good as last month's reading, because last month I think we had like an average of 4.25 or something like that. So it's definitely more of an month. We're going to get into the books that I read. As always, I might remember details, I might not, but we're going to get into it. So the first book I read, I was hesitant about because this author, I like her writing style, just haven't liked the stories. I feel like I've said this multiple times, and if you're a Chloe Gong fan, and you love her stuff, then you might hate me. I don't know. I just haven't liked the stories being written, but I do love the way that she writes, so I have read the books, just didn't enjoy them, if that makes sense. Like, I want to see how she writes, but, like, the stories were kind of meh to me. However, this one, I loved. The beginning was a little slow, so we rated it a 4-star. But we follow. I have to look up names. One of them, I'm not entirely certain how to say. It's E-I-R-A-L-E. Irali, maybe? O'Reilly? Anyways, we follow O'Reilly, and Leah. And O'Reilly, she works for like this agency, and they're going after this one guy because he keeps destroying stuff. Like, he's a vandal and he's a bad guy and just all this like this. So like her team is going after this guy. And then we kind of switch to the point of view of Leah, and Leah is just a high school student she's not a high school student. She is training, because that's just like the world they live in. They're training to make sure that they can go fight and all this like this. It's very cyberpunky. I am not explaining this well. And the whole time, I'm going to put spoilers right here. This is a spoiler tag. I'm going to wait about 5 seconds and keep saying spoilers, because it's going to be like a plot twist or a spoiler. And then I will try my hardest to put the timestamp on the screen of when the spoilers are done. But, okay. You've been warned. The whole time, you're like, okay, these 2 women are going to meet. Like, this, whatever their final goal is, it's their goal is to be at the same place at the same time. Plot twist, that's not it. They're the same I say they're the same person. They're not the same person. In a sense. I don't know how to explain this. Or I will explain it exactly. So O'Reilly is in the digital world, because I'm forgetting that they're jacked in. They're in the digital world. O'Reilly is just a program. She doesn't exist because she is the digital form of Leah, and Leah's only existence, or maybe it's the opposite. I could be backwards. One is the physical form that belonged to this government guy. I think he's a senator. His daughter died when she was 5. And so they created this being, this body, and created memories, like downloaded her memories and put them in the system. And they were creating this body, growing this person to then download her memories, and so that it could be just like his daughter again. incredibly problematic. I don't know. So yes, so they're the same person, but not the same person. I really liked it, though. I don't know. It was very weird, a little problematic, but not, like, problematic. Like, obviously, they know that it's wrong and everything like that. It was problematic for the dad to do so. It is what it is. I explained this horribly, but I do think that I highly recommend it if you are into cyberpunk, sci-fi, like, digital worlds, like Ready Player One, or The Matrix, or something where, like, something is happening in the real world, and then you jack in, and they, like, there are people who just, like, live in the digital world. I think you have to log out, like, every 4 months or something, just to, like, physically revamp yourself, but even, I'm sure there's people that get past that rule. But yes, anyways, okay. I promise this whole video is not like this. I think I remember more of the rest of them. Anyways, I gave this one a 4 stars just because at the beginning, I really wasn't even, like, vibing with the Raleigh story. Leah's was fun from the beginning, and then it got better. So, like, I don't know. The oomph wasn't there, like I always say. So it is a 4 star there, like a high 4 star. So yes, Coldwire, Chloe Gong, great book. The next book that I read was Frostfire by Amanda Hocking. I gave this one a 3 star because of the writing. Like literally the writing style. It seems like this could have been a very first book ever written. The writing was very juvenile. I don't know. I've read something else by Amanda Hocking. It's called Freaks. I really enjoyed that one. And I don't remember the writing being like this, so I really do think this might have been, like, a very early in her career situation. The story is interesting. I really did like the story, which is why I got a 3 star, because, like, I wanted to finish it. I liked where it was going, and I might possibly read the next ones in the series. I'm not entirely positive yet. So what we have Bryn. She works, basically, I'm trying to figure out, like, what they called them, because I can't remember what they called them. So, she is a fae. And in their particular, they're trolls, but they don't look like trolls. They look like what we would consider trolls. They just look like humans. And so the way that they make money, that their whole economy is based on, they will take children from the rich families, and they will go find human rich families, and they will swap them out. They will create changelings. And then, when they become 18-ish, her job, and others, there are others, that have the same position, they will go get those children and convince them to drain their trust funds, essentially, for saving them. So that's how they make their money. And I mean, it's good. It was fun. There's a whole side plot in which there's a guy that used to be the head of the Kingsguard who tried to kill her dad at the very beginning, like first chapter, tried to kill her dad, then he vanished, and everybody's been hunting after him. He's a bad guy. But then he starts killing, like, these kids that they're going after to go get them. So then they're having to get them before they're 18. They're like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? And they're trying to protect them. And it kind of turns out that they might be in line for the throne, and that's why he's going after them, but we don't actually know why yet. Like, in this book, we don't learn why he's doing this or who he might be working for, because it kind of seems like he might not be working on his own. So, like, the story is interesting, and maybe the second book is better written, because obviously they've had time. But, yeah. Honestly, it was a book I bought at the Dollar Tree, and it's been sitting on my shelf. And I don't remember. I think when I pulled that one, the prompt was set in the current season. And at the time, I think still technically we are still in winter. Plot twist, it's not actually winter in the real world, but it is winter in Canaan. I think that is a city they live in. I don't think that's a person. Yeah. Where their realm, it is winter and it is snowing everywhere. So, though it is not, I think it was like August in the real world is what one of the kids said, but it is winter in their realm. So it worked. It worked. Okay, next up, we have Next up, we have Violet Thistlewaite is Not a Villain Anymore by Emily Krumholtz. I did really enjoy this. It was super cute. It was super cozy. Obviously, there was conflict. So cozy adjacent, I would say. But very cozy. I gave it a 4-star. I did physically read it. It's not all that long. I think it's it's 356 pages. It doesn't look super long, but I don't know. It was whatever. So we follow Violet. She was the right-hand man to, like, the big bad, who loomed over everyone in this village, in this area, from this big castle. She was the big bad. She has plant powers, so she would, like, attack people with plants and poison them and yada yada. And then, like, literally, I think it's in the prologue, the big hero shows up. And she fights everybody. She kills the villain, you know, everything like that. She does all of her job, and she finds Violet. And she says, hey, Violet, just stop being a bad guy. Just, you can be good. There's good in you. You can be good. And Violet's like, you know what? I can. And so she goes down to the village, and she decides, like, she transforms herself. She doesn't look all evil. She looks like just this adorable. I don't know if you can see her. Let's see. Yeah. I don't know. Don't look at me. Look at the book. Like, she's just this cute little girl. Not little girl. She's a full-grown adult. So she goes down to the village, and she's like, you know what, I'm going to use my powers to do good things, and I'm going to open a floral shop. And so she goes down here, and she rents half a building from... Oh, don't tell me it doesn't tell me his name. Oh, Nathaniel. Nathaniel and his sister, Piper. I think his sister's name is Piper. They own an apothecary shop, but things are not, like, monetarily wise, have not been going great. And so they don't really have need for the whole shop, so they rent out half the shop. They build a wall, they build it, whatever. Nathaniel is very cold to her from the very beginning because, like, he doesn't want to have to, this is his family's legacy, he doesn't want to have to, you know, rent out half the building. She's taking up half his greenhouse, which he never agreed to. His sister was like, oh yeah, you can totally use a greenhouse. She starts, you know, befriending the whole town, and he's still not loving it, and then kind of realizes, wait, maybe I do. Maybe she's kind of cute and endearing and yada yada. Again, spoiler warning. Obviously, you know, shit hits the fan, and they do find out that she is the Thorn Witch, I think is what they called her as the villain. And that's not really a spoiler. Obviously, it's going to happen. And they find out that someone is trying to bring back the big bad from the dead. And they were like, but we need the Thorn Witch powers and stuff like that. So, like, even though it's... She finds out that none of the magic she was ever using was bad, because inherently that, you know, like, it is just your powers. They are what they are. It's what you use them for. And so it's sweet and it's cozy and it's lovely and found family and redemption arcs and all the jazz. It was super fun. So yes, it was a 4-star. It was a nice little palate cleanser after, like, stealing babies and stuff. Okay, next up was the nonfiction I read this month. I'm not fully planning on reading a nonfiction every single month, but, like, it already has become that way. I'm filming this in March, and I've already read my first book of March, and it was a nonfiction book, but that's okay. Next up, I read Hidden Figures by Margaret Shetterly. This is the story of the women, particularly the black women, who worked for NACA and then NASA. Started off just getting to space, and then obviously the first space flight and landing on the moon. An incredibly interesting story. That is not the issue whatsoever, but, like, reading nonfiction is a very tight space in which you have, like, you can make it entertaining, otherwise it reads very dry. And the crazy thing is that you can tell when the author really enjoyed a subject or a person that she was writing about, because then they would get very interesting. They would get very detailed and, like, animated almost, like, and then other parts I was straight up reading a textbook. And so I gave it a 3-star because of this, like, the context, why do I keep becoming red? I don't know. I gave it a 3-star because the concept, like, the story, the information was great. It's just the fact that, like, I would slog through chapters, and then suddenly she'd be talking about somebody, and she'd be like, oh my god, they're... fully describe them, the way their hair flowed, and all this like this, and I'm like, okay, so clearly you like this person, and you like learning about this person. And then other parts would be crazy. As soon as I finished reading the book, I did watch the movie. And the movie is, like, this much of it. Like, it was a very small, minute little detail. I did write down lots of differences, because I haven't decided if I'm going to do a book versus movie video yet. But I did write down some things that it's like, you clearly dramatize this for just for dramatization's sake. Like in here it talks about how Katherine Johnson was passing enough, like skin tone wise, that she never used the colored bathrooms. She would just use the bathroom down the hall that was closest to her office, because she could and nobody ever said anything to her. Whereas in the movie, there's a whole scene. There's a whole big thing about how she's gone 45 minutes every day because she has to walk all the way back to West End Computers to go to the bathroom, because that's the only place a colored bathroom is. And, like, Kevin Costner's character says, no, we're not doing that. And he goes and tears down all the colored bathroom signs and says, no, just use a bathroom, preferably closer to your desk. And it's like this whole big thing. And I'm like, yeah, that didn't actually ever happen, because... I mean, it did eventually happen for all of the other women and men, but for particularly Catherine, like, that wasn't a thing that happened, because she said, I'm going to do what I want. On top of the fact that, like, Kevin Costner's character has a different name, like, he's not named after the actual director, and there's really no reason to change that, as well as the man that helped Mary become an engineer. They changed his name. Character's completely the same, they just changed his name. And then Jim Parsons' character is just like 5 or 6 people combined together. I don't know why they do the things they do, but whatever. Yes, so I gave it a 3-star. Still a great story, I highly recommend, if you like anything space related, to read about these women, because it's great, it's fantastic. Just be prepared that it can be kind of a slog at points, unless... I don't know. There's not really an unless. It does kind of slog at points, but it's fine. Next up, I read It Waits in the Forest by Sarah Doss. This was the book that my sister gave me for Sister Story Swap for February. It was a book featuring a mother-daughter relationship. I gave her Dumpling by Julie Murphy. She gave me this one. We follow Selena. Her mother is like a witch, but like a... like, she would claim to have visions. She helped the cops with investigations, and her mother is now in a coma because there was this particular case going on, and this man was being accused of murdering these girls, and she was like, yeah, but I don't think it was him. Like, it's things aren't adding up. The vision, whatever her senses are telling her, like, she's like, it wasn't him. And so he went free, someone else died, they still arrested him, somebody blamed them, like her parents, and so they were attacked, her father died, her mother's in a coma. Now she's living with her mother's best friend, and she's trying to live down this legacy of, like, what her mother left behind, and people hate her for it, because, like, oh, it's your fault that these girls are dead, or your mother's fault, and therefore your fault. But then we find out at the end, I'm not going to spoil this one, we find out at the end what was actually happening, who did everything. It was a little stab in the heart, which really sucked. But it was really enjoyable. It was fun. It was magical realism, which I absolutely love. And it was just because it takes place on a Caribbean island of St. Virgil. I'm not sure if that's a real island, but it's in the Caribbean. Very, very tropical, very, very touristy, and the way that they talk, she works in a souvenir shop with a friend. Her friend was told that she had to run this shop or have to move to Scotland with her family because she's a trust fund kid, and her dad is the chief of police on the island, and basically she was just not being good. Like, she was breaking into things, and her dad was like, no, you guys are going to run this shop, or you're going to move to Scotland. And then they kind of start like a back room business of her reading objects and having seances and things like that to earn a little money. Can't let Dad know, though. That would be bad. Plot twist. Not really plot twist. Dad finds out. Of course he finds out. That was always going to be a thing. So yes, I really enjoyed it. Magical realism, monsters, fictional, legendary beasts possibly coming to life. Fun. But yeah, I gave it a 4-star. So, good one. And then the last book. Now, the last book, I started out on the very first day of February, and I ended it with minutes to spare on the very last day. Because, holy moly, does Mr. Tolkien like to talk? I did do the audiobook for it. I did the single narration because Andy Serkis reads it, and it's great. My only problem is that Andy Serkis reads it, and he is also the voice of Gollum. And the one thing that bothers me so much is when he says Gollum's name, and it sounds like he's hawking up everything in his throat. I hate it. Obviously, he's in here, and he does that, but it's fine. It's fine. But yes, it was a 27-hour audiobook, 28-hour audiobook. Took me literally the whole month to read it. Because, like, I read when I'm in the car, or if it's, like, something that, like, I'm super hooked on, I will figure out ways to read it at home when, like, the kids are home and everything like that. But, like, this one I did not. Because I was like, I know what's happening. I know what happens. I've watched the movies numerous times. But I have never read the books. And I was like, I should read the books. There's things that don't happen that, you know, or that happen in the book and they don't happen in the movie. But holy moly, this man likes to talk. I gave it a 3-star. Because I like the story. Love the movies. Beautiful movies. There's so many words in here that don't need to be here. I think that is a normal complaint for these books, is that, much like Dickens, they just spend 6 chapters describing a tree or something, you know? So, that's where we're at. So, overall, like I said at the beginning, overall, across the 6 books, I got an average of 3.5 stars, which is kind of a meh. There was no 5-star reads this month. Nothing that stood out to me that I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to think about this forever. So I'm really hoping. I'm already into March. I've already finished my first book, and it is a 5-star. So, good. Awesome. Fantastic. So, but that is it. That is going to wrap up this video. What did you read in February? If you didn't if you didn't read anything, that's fine. What else did you do? Did you go watch a new movie? Did you go watch a new TV show that you loved? In February, we watched Delicious in Dungeon. Absolutely loved it. Was a great show. Fun times. We watched it. We wanted to watch it before we went and met Damien Hawes, which was also a fun time. But we watched that. I don't think we watched any new movies. Nothing new in February, at least. Any movies that we watched were movies for movie night that we have, between me and my husband, have watched numerous times. But yeah, that's going to be it. So if you like this video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, as well as the big red subscribe button and the notification bell so that you're always notified every time that I upload. And until next time, bye!